I don't know how they did it. All I know is they did it. I don't think anybody knows how they did it.
Over the years, Hancock has captivated audiences worldwide with his in-depth research and thought-provoking perspectives on ancient sites. His work often challenges mainstream historical and archaeological narratives, urging a re-evaluation of human history.
We have been taught that civilization is entirely an invention of the old world.
For today's video, we will examine 15 enigmatic locations that experts truly cannot explain. Number 15. Lake Maracaibo, Venezuela. Local people have long depended on Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela for its water and fishing, but an odd occurrence has occurred there for hundreds of years. It's the everlasting storm, and known as Catatumbo lightning. It's a location where a thunderstorm is more likely every night rather than not. These storms can continue up to 10 hours a night for 140 to 160 nights annually, and generate as many as 1 million lightning bolts annually. Usually seen for miles around, the lightning gives an almost otherworldly sensation while it is occurring. To make matters even more odd, despite ongoing research, people have yet to learn exactly why these phenomena occur at this exact spot. Along with the lake's geology, it is said to be the outcome of a unique mix of elements particular to the Lake Maracaibo area. Warm, moist air from the Caribbean Sea clashing with the chilly air descending from the Andes Mountains. Though some experts believe it also has to do with the oil riches and the existence of minerals under the lake, others doubt whether this is sufficient to generate the ideal storm circumstances. However, Catatumbo lightning has evolved into a significant component of Venezuelan folklore and customs, and is even included in music, literature, and art. Over the years, it has also saved many lives, since it has been so dependable historically that navigators and sailors utilized it as a natural lighthouse to safely negotiate the dangerous waters of Lake Maracaibo and the neighboring Gulf of Venezuela. Lake Maracaibo is not just known for its natural beauty, but also its unique phenomenon of Catatumbo lightning. This continuous storm, which can occur up to 160 nights a year, has intrigued scientists and historians alike, leading to theories about its potential significance in ancient cultures and navigation. Number 14. The Chocolate Hills, Philippines. With as many as 1,176 of them, the Chocolate Hills on the Philippine island of Bohol produce a breathtaking natural scene and have grown to be among the most well-known sights in the nation. Their appearance during the dry season, the grass covering the hills turns dark and starts to resemble mounds of chocolate, gets their name. People from all throughout the world find attraction in this remarkable metamorphosis. Though local mythology and scientific interest abound in the source of the Chocolate Hills, scientifically, the puzzle of their formation still has some unresolved elements. Geological research indicates that they result from limestone weathering, erosion, and coral deposits uplifting from an ancient seafloor. These cone-shaped hills have evolved over millions of years. Still under research, their exact form, abundance, and why they aren't themselves erasing away are only partially apparent. Of course, local tradition offers a more romantic narrative and a justification outside of science. The legend goes that a giant called Arogo developed feelings for a mortal woman called Aloya. Arogo was devastated and unable to stop crying upon her death. Her tears created the Chocolate Hills when they dried and hardened beneath the sun. The Chocolate Hills have become a well-liked tourism destination, drawing people from all over the Philippines. Now, the Chocolate Hills complex boasts an unmatched panoramic perspective of the beauties on an observation deck. Visitors can ascend to the summit and enjoy the fantastic view of the rolling chocolate-colored hills extending as far as the eye can reach. The Chocolate Hills in the Philippines are a geological wonder. These perfectly conical hills, numbering over 1,000, raise questions about their formation. Some local legends suggest that supernatural beings created them, pointing to a deep cultural and possibly historical significance. Number 13. The Zone of Silence, Mexico. Though there are several sites worldwide where unusual electromagnetic events occur, none are as unique and legendary as the Mapimi Silent Zone in the Mexican state of Durango. Also sometimes referred to as the Zone of Silence, or La Zona del Silencio in Spanish. It is a 1,500 square mile, 3,800 square kilometers remote section of the Chihuahuan Desert in Mexico. Unique rock formations, desert vegetation, and animals cover a sparsely inhabited dry scene. This is precisely what one would expect from a stretch of desert, but what distinguishes this is the abundance of reports of electromagnetic disturbances and mysterious events over the years. The most well-known of the odd consequences of the Zone of Silence is its capacity to interfere with radio signals and communication gear. Many have claimed to have lost all radio contact while driving throughout the region, although they are still determining why. While some hypotheses propose that solid levels of magnetic and mineral deposits in the area cause these disturbances, others have also claimed paranormal or alien activities. Furthermore, adding to the more out-of-this-world solutions are accounts of unusual glowing objects in the sky over the area. These incidents still need to be satisfactorily explained, even though they are significantly less frequent than electrical interference. Since this is a far-off area, many studies have been conducted on what could be generating these unusual occurrences. Yet it is hoped that one day it could be an indication that it is geologically and environmentally unique and could become rather significant when we grasp it entirely. Number 12. The Dancing Forest, Russia. Perched on the Curonian Spit, a sandbank extending into the Baltic Sea in Russia, experts have been perplexed by an odd feature that has captivated tourists. Known as the Dancing Forest, or Lesnoy Tenets in Russian, this vast collection of trees has grown in quite odd and totally unexpected directions. They all are pine trees, which should typically grow tall and straight, but they adopt strange and frequently comical forms in this location. Their trunks curve like corkscrews, and their limbs seem to twist in strange and somewhat bizarre directions. Some seem to be dancing or bowing, and their enigmatic shadows cover the woodland floor, producing a hauntingly lovely atmosphere. Though most others have proven easy to explain, there are other forests on Earth where trees are known to grow in strange patterns. Still, the precise reason for this dancing forest eludes scientists. Still, some ideas have been proposed to help to clarify it. The most well-known is that the solid and relentless coastal winds over the Curonian Spit have shaped the trees throughout time and generated these abnormalities. Though this would typically be expected to cause each of the trees to grow similarly, the area's sandy soil and distinctive microclimate may also play a part in how this interacts with trees. Different people live in the dancing forest. Hence, another element has to be affecting their behavior at work. Number 11. The Devil's Kettle, Minnesota. In Minnesota, the lovely area of preserved natural beauty is the Judge C.R. Magny State Park. Although the hiking paths and camping appeal to the residents, the Devil's Kettle waterfall is most well known, not only because of its breathtaking appearance, but also because the water that flows over it has a long-standing mystery. The Brule River runs through the park, but just before it reaches the waterfall, roughly half of the water volume spills into a large, deep hole known as the kettle. The half that remains keeps running over the waterfall and flows like a river underfoot. The mystery then is what happens to the water that runs into the kettle. Over the years, various efforts have been made to solve this. Dye experiments and GPS trackers have been dropped into the kettle, and even objects like logs and ping-pong balls have been thrown into the kettle with the goal that they will resurge someplace else. Their dismay is compounded by the fact that all of these artifacts disappear without a trace. This has resulted in legends of a network of enormous subterranean tunnels and secret caves. The fact that the flow rises just a little bit further down the river implies that practically all of the lost water finally returns, making things even more unusual. Though none of the objects, colors, or trackers has resurfaced, it must be following a complex path to get there, one that, with current technology, we are unable to chart or grasp completely. Number 10. Al-Nasla, Saudi Arabia. Some of Earth's most beautiful and immaculate desert settings call Saudi Arabia home. Although most of these structures are entirely understood, one area still baffles us. Made of sandstone, the Al-Nasla rock is roughly 20 feet high and 30 feet wide and is around 31 miles or 50 kilometers south of the Tema oasis. It weighs many tons, yet stands precisely straight. This would be rare at the best of times, but to make things even odder, the vast stone is split in half with almost perfect symmetry down the center. Although no conclusive proof of human involvement has been discovered, the accuracy of this split has led some to propose that it must be the result of human intervention or extraordinary ancient technology. The precise explanation of this impressive structure is still up for contention. Usually, geologists agree that Al-Nasla's unusual split results from natural processes, notably the stress-induced fracture of sandstone over millions of years. The sandstone cracked along its inherent fault lines as forces, including tectonic activity, erosion, and weathering, worked upon it. The exact split is only a fluke from a mix of particular qualities of the rock and the gradual, patient work of natural forces. Still, it's difficult to accept that this is natural, and only some agree. Though Al-Nasla has remained straight for millennia, it could collapse any time. Al-Nasla is now a site of interest for geologists, adventurers, and curious visitors wishing to observe this firsthand. Though this is still to be verified, being in an area so rich in history, with archaeological sites spanning thousands of years, including ancient rock carvings and inscriptions, it is also likely that the split stone had a part in ancient rituals or celebrations. Number 9. Tabby's Star. Technological developments recently have made it feasible for humans to gaze out to the stars in hitherto unthinkable ways. We find locations in the universe that challenge accepted knowledge as we do this. Measuring the light emitted helps one ascertain whether planets are orbiting far-off stars. If dimming periods exist, this could indicate the presence of an object momentarily obstructing the light. When the biggest planet, Jupiter, passes in front of our Sun, its light would fade by a few percent using this approach. Researchers have found a star with a significantly higher light disparity than this, though, which begs the question of what might possibly be huge enough to make such an impact. Officially referred to as KIC 84628, Tabby's star is found in the constellation Cygnus and is roughly 1,400 light-years from Earth. Originally seen as part of NASA's Kepler Space Telescope experiment, which tracked hundreds of stars looking for exoplanets by tracking their light curves or brightness changes, Tabby's star has dips of up to 20% or more, a notable departure from some stars whose brightness varies somewhat due to transiting planets. The odd and unpredictable character of the dimming inspired many ideas and caught the public's attention as well as scientists' imagination. Massive comet swarms, asteroid belts, and even extraterrestrial megastructures called Dyson spheres. Advanced civilizations could build to harness a star's energy, are some of the possible reasons for this decrease. Though the scientific community greeted the concept of alien megastructures with mistrust, astronomers and astrophysicists worked to try to comprehend the phenomenon. It was an interesting concept. Number 8. The Richat structure, Mauritania. Often referred to as the Eye of the Sahara, the Richat structure is a massive geological structure buried deep within West Africa's remote desert of Mauritania. From above, the structure seems like a large circular depression with a circumference of about 25 miles or 40 kilometers. The formation consists of concentric rings of alternating sedimentary rock strata. The innermost ring layer contains older rocks and the outer ring layer comprises fresher deposits. From the ground level, it's practically impossible to even realize you're within a building at all. The only hints you'll find are sporadic changes in color or kind of rock. Originally thought to be an impact crater from a meteorite striking the Earth from space, scientists have shown that this is rather a geological feature called a dome or an anticline. The steady elevating movement of the Earth's crust over millions of years so created the structure by which the rocks bent and folded into this unique circular form that we observe. The bullseye is the flaw in this justification, though. For years, geologists and scientists have struggled to understand the central depression since it was once assumed to be the outcome of erosion, that which the wind and water progressively wore away from the rock layers. Recent studies, however, have revealed that this is insufficient to explain its structure and size, and that the centeri might have developed in response to volcanic and hydrothermal activity, then collapsed and eroded later. Moving on to number 7, the Sargasso Sea, Atlantic Ocean. Research has shown that the huge masses of whirling and mixing water are actually separate formations with very varying temperatures, salinity, and oxygen levels. The global oceans are still poorly understood. Despite millennia of knowledge, the Sargasso Sea remains a mystery. Sargassum, or large lengths of golden brown floating seaweed, and azure blue waves make it famous in the North Atlantic Ocean. The Sargasso Sea, estimated at 1.4 million square miles or over 4 million square kilometers, is unlike most seas and oceans because it has no coastlines and is surrounded by 4 strong ocean currents: the North Atlantic Current to the north, the Canary Current to the east, the North Equatorial Current to the south, and the Antilles Current to these currents form the North Atlantic Subtropical Gyre, which traps rubbish and seaweed. Sargassum seaweed, which forms dense floating mats, is the most visible sea element. These growths provide a habitat for fish, turtles, invertebrates, and other marine life. Sargassum seaweed's gas-filled bladders support it in its home. Historically, the sea is famous. Christopher Columbus, who first saw the vast floating seaweed masses on his way to the New World, recorded it in his logs. The Sargasso Sea appears calm, but it controls atmospheric carbon dioxide levels and is vital to the ocean's carbon cycle. Many species depend on it, including American and European eels, which travel thousands of kilometers to spawn in its waters. Number 6. The Pyramids of Egypt. Historians, archaeologists, and history buffs love ancient Egypt, and the Great Pyramids are its most impressive structure. Only one of the world's 7 ancient wonders remains, a feat of engineering for its day. These gigantic stone monuments fascinate experts, and their construction methods are still debated. Pharaohs and their consorts were buried in the pyramids 4,500 years ago. The Great Pyramid of Giza, Khufu's tomb, is the most famous of these pyramids. Khafre and Menkaure are also included. The Great Pyramid, the biggest, was 481 feet, 146.6 meters, tall, and made of 2.3 million limestone stones weighing several tons. One of the greatest mysteries is how these massive stones were quarried, transported, and perfectly assembled without modern machinery. Ramps, sleds, ropes have been suggested, and intricate engineering procedures are not yet known. One theory suggests workers use straight and zigzag ramps to lift stones up the pyramid's sides, while another suggests spiral ramps around the core. There is evidence for numerous tactics, although the exact technique is still debated in academia. Building precision could be clearer. The pyramids are perfectly aligned with the cardinal points and have wonderful symmetry. The limestone blocks' precise connections prevent thin blades from fitting. The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just a tomb. Its precision and alignment with true north and its dimensions suggest it could have been an ancient power plant or a repository of advanced knowledge. The evidence indicates that the builders had an incredibly sophisticated understanding of mathematics and astronomy. It's possible they inherited this knowledge from an even older civilization. Number 5. The Bermuda Triangle. One of the most well-known maritime riddles in the world, the Bermuda Triangle, lies on the western side of the North Atlantic Ocean. About 500,000 square miles or 1.3 million square kilometers of open water, Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico generally define the area. Many stories of ships and planes vanishing under unexplained conditions have come out of the Bermuda Triangle. Midway through the 20th century, the phenomena attracted much interest and has since become the center of focus for scientific research, conjecture, and conspiracies. The legends of inexplicable vanishings in the Bermuda Triangle trace back to the time of Christopher Columbus, who, on his journey to the New World, recorded odd compass readings and enigmatic lights in the area. But public curiosity was really sparked in 1945 when Flight 19 vanished. 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers set off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on a normal training mission on December 5th that year, only to vanish without a trace. Along with a rescue plane dispatched to look for them, the aircraft vanished, and their whereabouts are unknown. Many ideas have been put forward over time to account for the Bermuda Triangle disappearances. Some claim that unusual magnetic anomalies could interfere with navigational tools and disorient pilots and sailors. Others conjecture that methane hydrates upsetting vessel buoyancy, strong underwater currents, and rogue waves cause quick sinking of boats. Some people also support more unusual theories, including extraterrestrial abductions, time warps, and the impact of the vanished metropolis of Atlantis. The Bermuda Triangle is still a topic of constant investigation and discussion of several hypotheses, as there is no definitive proof to favor any one theory. Number 4. The Great Attractor. Since its discovery in the 1970s, one of the most fascinating and mysterious events in the universe, a gravitational anomaly. The Great Attractor has perplexed astronomers. Located in the direction of the constellation Centaurus, the Great Attractor is where an enormous gravitational force seems to be dragging galaxies, including our own Milky Way, towards it. The odd motion of galaxies in our local universe lets one deduce the presence of this enigmatic power. Galaxies were traveling towards a particular place in space at velocities not compatible with the known distribution of mass in the observable universe, scientists observed. Direct observation of the Great Attractor is challenging since it is in the so-called zone of avoidance, a section of the sky veiled by the dense plane of the Milky Way galaxy. With interstellar dust and gas present, this region is quite challenging to investigate with visible light. However, advances in radio and infrared astronomy have let scientists get through the obscuring debris and compile additional data concerning this mysterious phenomenon. According to one of the leading hypotheses, the Great Attractor is a large supercluster of galaxies, perhaps containing the Shapley supercluster and the Norma cluster, which significantly influences the surrounding area by gravity. These structures, taken together, could explain the noted gravitational force. Furthermore, an essential aspect of gravitational anomaly could be the presence of dark matter, an invisible and elusive kind of stuff that interacts primarily via gravity. Number 3. Saturn's hexagonal storm. Saturn is of tremendous interest to academics, especially those trying to know how it developed and what it's really like, since it is the second biggest planet in our solar system and the one with the most distinct rings around it. The more we investigate it, the more odd it seems to be. Hence, there is something at its north pole that has thus so far utterly baffled the field of science. First found by the Voyager spacecraft in the early 1980s, and then observed by other missions in the following decades, there appears to be a continuous storm with quite a unique, almost flawless hexagonal form. The planet's strong jet streams, whose winds may reach speeds of up to 200 mph, 320 kph, are believed to have shaped the about 20,000 miles, 32,000 km, in diameter planet from roughly 2.5 times Earth's diameter. About 10 hours and 39 minutes, these jet streams complete a six-sided pattern that spins simultaneously with Saturn's interior, However, another theory, that it results from interactions between Saturn's atmospheric layers and its rotation, has not yet been verified and is only the leading one. The complicated and stable wave pattern of the planet's rotation generates the hexagonal form. Another theory holds that the Coriolis effect, created by the planet's rotation and atmospheric movement, may be responsible for the storm's genesis. This may cause the hexagonal pattern seen in the atmosphere and create polygonal forms in rotating liquids. The Cassini-Huygens mission, which orbited Saturn from 2004 to 2017, provided scientists with extensive data and photos of this hexagonal storm, thereby enabling a better understanding of Saturn's atmosphere and weather dynamics. Number 2. The Taos Hum, New Mexico. For some people, the town of Taos in New Mexico has an unusual sound called the Taos Hum. For most people, it is like any other town, usually described as a low-pitched sound like a faraway diesel engine idling or the hum of a subwoofer. The Taos hum usually causes vibrations and discomfort. Strangely, not everyone can hear it. Those who can usually find its source are not sure. Reports of this phenomenon first surfaced in the early 1990s when Taos residents started complaining about continuous low-frequency sounds. The phenomenon attracted media notice and aroused interest over the years. Noise measures, acoustic research, and even government agency investigations have been applied, among other scientific and investigative approaches, to try to find what it is. Nevertheless, no apparent source or justification has been discovered despite these initiatives. Many explanations have been proposed. Some say it might be the outcome of military activity in the area, mining operations, or industrial machines. Further conjecture results from investigations unable to link the phenomenon to any one human-made source. Number 1. The Nazca Lines, Peru. Though none are as unusual and enigmatic as the Nazca Lines in Peru, ancient civilizations were known to produce massive geoglyphs in the ground. Designed by the Nazca people who lived between 200 BCE and 600 CE, they comprise hundreds of exquisite and massive drawings ranging from simple geometric shapes to sophisticated representations of animals, plants, and humanoid beings. Their area of coverage is 174 square miles. They scraped the reddish-brown iron oxide-coated pebbles covering the Nazca Desert to expose the light-colored dirt underlying, and their astonishing preservation over 1,000 years is attributed to the area's very dry and constant temperature. Among the most well-known Nazca Line figures are the hummingbird, the spider, the monkey, and the condor. The largest geoglyph, known as the astronaut or spaceman, has piqued interest because of its look to a figure in a spacesuit. America Before, Lecture 2019. The Nazca Lines in Peru are one of the world's most mysterious sets of geoglyphs. These massive designs can only be fully appreciated from the air, suggesting they were meant for beings capable of flight or a higher purpose we have yet to understand. They raise significant questions about the knowledge and capabilities of the ancient Nazca people. Outro. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment below. Remember to turn on notifications so you get all the updates. See you next time.